Hello and welcome to the CDO Magazine interview series. I am Michael Filios, founder and CEO of IT Ally and a CDO editorial board member. And we are partnering with CDO Magazine, MIT CDO IQ, and the International Society of Chief Data Officers in a series of interviews. Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with Balaram Tidhi, Vice President, Chief Data and Analytics Officer at Artera Services. Balaram, welcome to the program.
Great to be here. Thank you, Michael.
So as we think about your experiences, and we've done these interviews with a lot of different people that come from different backgrounds, right? But when you think about it, what kinds of skills or qualities do you think makes up for a modern CDO or analytics officer? And how, how do you go about developing those skills, to be successful?
That's a great question. And it's a multifaceted role, right? That's why it is so hard to define it. And being in the CDOs, it's people come from various backgrounds. It's not like technology is like on the secondary, right? It's all about change management. There's a whole concept of offensive and defensive, right? Like which path you're going to take. It's the creative piece of it, and understanding, keeping up to speed with the technologies out there is also equally important. Business acumen is also important because we want to make sure that we are aligned to the business. You need to understand the financial metrics. You need to understand some of the time value of money, or some of the key things that is required, not just technical. So that's the reason you would see a varied people coming to this, evolving into this CDO role. So to define like it is a particular skill, no, but at a very, very high level, I would say like definitely some business acumen. The second one would be a change management skills, definitely leadership, and keeping up to date with trends. And most of all is the communication and the negotiation skills that anyone has. So one of the critical path is definitely the negotiation skills. So how can you negotiate anyone, like maybe a bank robber, how do you negotiate him to surrender, right? So it's almost like negotiating somebody to show the dirty data laundry. So if you can do that, I mean, that can be a component. So at least these are the top things that comes to my mind. Of course, being humble.
Sure. And now you've got, at least at the undergrad level, people coming out with these degrees that are specialized, right? So now you've got almost a technical skill set, but like you said, you can't underestimate some of the other qualities that go along with that technical skill set in any leadership position. But certainly one like this that's changing very rapidly. And to that point, you touched upon it, but gosh, there's so much change going on in the industry at large when we look at tech, but specifically, certainly AI and ChatGPT and all of these techs have become mainstream, and they're being adopted at rapid paces, far greater than I've ever seen in my 30 years in the business. So what do you do to stay abreast of these trends and making sure that you're in tune with the marketplace as it evolves?
Yeah, I mean, like there's so much of wealth. So nowadays I'm practicing speed reading because I don't think I have enough time to read all the good content that comes out. But I do follow some folks in Twitter and some of the podcasts. I like the podcasts of the Super Data Science is an excellent podcast that brings some good leaders, and also like the Data Chief is another one. So I have a list. If folks are interested, just DM me and I can share all the podcasts that I feel like really adding me value. So and of course there are some blogs out there I do follow, but podcasts are I live in Atlanta, so when you're stuck in the traffic, you cover a lot of ground. So right.
And of course, CDO Magazine, I'm sure, is a good
absolutely. Yeah. And not to forget it's more about the community is like having the like-minded folks, like a tribe, right? It has been like a source for like just so many folks in this multifaceted skill set people at one place. It's very hard to find that this is sorry, I took it for granted, like CDO Magazine. So yeah, absolutely. Thanks for that.
So let's imagine you're on, you're traveling, you're on a flight, and sitting next to you is an aspiring young professional, and you tell them more about what you do, and they say, "What do you think? What advice would you give me if I wanted to pursue that career?" What would be your answer?
For a CDO career,
Yeah,
my answer would be like, depends on where he's standing in his career. Like this is his, if he is all on a technical path, there is a different route from technical side. If on the stats side of the fence, or the business side, or even people who are like um, behaviors or communication experts. So anyway, it's open to anybody depending on the the individual's background. It's not like you take a certificate kind of. If you're technical, there is a different path towards it.
sure.
Ultimately, data is the least common denominator of any businesses that you have, and how do you get there? So my advice would be like, depending on, because I do get this from my students, they do ask, reach out to me, as a mentoring. So depending on where they stand, we could provide them, all these will lead, if you have the intent to make an impact with business and data, so you can take different paths to get there. So if they say I'm a technology guy, so what specifically I should do means, if a technical track, I can say, okay, three things important is like, do you know SQL? Do you know Python? Do you know some cloud computing? So if these three things are there, like that's enough for them to start playing with the Kaggle data sets. There's just so much of material, so much of learning people are really ready to offer. But your SQL is there forever. It'll be there for next 20 days, 20 years, I guess. Then Python is the programming language, and of course the cloud. So these will be my top buckets, and then you build on top of it.
Sure. I'm sure you saw the news, Apple with this new AR, coming out. And
Yeah.
so when you think about the future of AI and data and all of this, what are your steps to ensure that the company is staying relevant? I'm not sure if you guys are early adopters or fast followers, but how do you stay relevant in this ever-changing space and keep on the forefront of these advancements?
Oh, that's an excellent and a complex question. but to attempt to answer that, as you see, like, the seriousness of this is when Microsoft chief or Google chief comes in and says that we need some kind of controls and guidelines, asking the government to do it. So it's literally a game-changing event that we are witnessing, right? So just the hardware improvements and the software, the combination, and the computing power, and all this, the transformers, like that the generative AI, and the open source I am blown away by the kind of developments that are happening in the open source side, especially the foundation models. I don't know if you heard about this open source Cerberus. It's like a hardware and software combination, and that's again, means like just listening to these guys, the kind of knowledge they have, and just going behind building these foundation models with less and less parameters has been phenomenal. For me, to ask your question, to stay behind it, I'm just now like a kid in the candy store, like you don't know what candy to eat. Like, I'm like super excited. At the same time, how to bring value to the business, trying to apply it to our project management skill area, because on construction, it's important that if we have like a 6 or 8 month project of laying pipe underground, we need to know, we're going to predict certain variables in there, right? So we want to not a typical KPIs, but also saying, can generative AI can help us in suggesting remediations for the risks that they experience, or making it easier for this project managers to address the issues, rather than slicing and dicing and going into different reports, right? There are like any number of possibilities. We are experimenting on one of that model, which would enable a project manager to quickly come and type in the project number. It tells you like is that my project at risk? And you can actually have like a chatbot type of a conversation.
Right. I was going to ask you about this, like conversational AI, basically.
Yeah. Yes.
Is,
So
right?
yeah. So it tells you your project risks and what can I do, and it will
Right.
tell like 3 or 4 remediations, right? So if he's a new project manager, he can live on the tribal knowledge of the previous project managers.
Right.
And we want to give also a networking effect for this, like weather, right? Weather is such an important component for our delays and lose of revenues, and productivity, weather, ERP data. So having that collectively can we provide inputs quickly for project managers.
Very good. Well, I should end with, is there anything else? We covered a lot of ground here, and always the time goes by quickly. Balaram, is there anything else you'd like to share before we wrap up that we haven't talked about?
I think we did cover quite a good ground. You have been an awesome moderator. You did cover a lot. Thank you.
Okay, terrific. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. And to learn more about CDO Magazine or to view more interviews, please visit cdomagazine.tech. Thanks again.
Thank you.